Yeah, you just have to start taking massive action is what you have to do. Because where we get overwhelmed and discouraged is when we take an action and it doesn't produce the intended result. But if we can get over that and just realize, okay, that action didn't produce the result I intended it to, and then we move on to the next action, that's where the victory is. We just have to take continual action, continual forward steps. And I love to give credit where credit is due. I learned this as well from Myron Golden. He says that all work works. It either works on you or it works for you. So
I like
you know,
that.
you take an action, it might produce the result, it might work for you, or it might work on you. And especially as a believer, the Lord is always trying to grow us, and so as he's always trying to grow us, and really, right, like John 8:32 to 8:30, he's always trying to bring us into new levels of freedom to help us to understand what it means to be joint heirs and to be sons and daughters and to be kings and priests and all these amazing terms. Um, he has to expose lies. So sometimes we take an action and it doesn't produce the result, but what does it do? It exposes a lie inside of us. And now we go back and we take another action. And especially I find it so interesting in Christian entrepreneurship when you marry those two together. In entrepreneurship, you're looking to build a business, right? You're looking to generate wealth.
Hmm.
You're looking to do all these things. So since you have this calling in Christian entrepreneurship, you're going to have a lot more opportunities to expose lies, a lot more opportunities to take action that don't produce results. You just have to take massive action so you move through it quicker. Like learn the lesson, move through, repent, reconcile, and move to restoration and keep going. But what happens is something doesn't produce the intended result. So then we start to think, oh, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? I must not be called to be this. And then we start to shrink back. But we have to understand that there's nothing
Mm.
wrong with us. It's part of the process. It's part of the process. You think of a child learning to walk, part of the process is they're falling over all the time. They're stumbling into things, this and that. And what do we do when a child is learning to walk? We're encouraging them, we're picking them up, we're putting barriers and safeguards around them, we're speaking words of life. Well, that typically doesn't happen in the entrepreneurial world, especially in your circle, right? When you're called to be an entrepreneur and your friends and family aren't, and life happens when your work isn't working for you, they're going to tell you, oh, just go, man, you had that great job offer. Just go back and finish your master's. Do this or that. Join, we all work at this factory. Come work with us. Like, they're not going to encourage you to keep walking, like we do
Mm.
to the child. They're going to encourage you, no, come back to where we are. And so we have to know that we know that we know that we have this calling. And I have a post-it on my wall here that says, God told me to. And there's four things on there. God told me to franchise my business. God told me to homeschool my kids. God told me to use other people's RVs for my business. And God told me to serve Christian entrepreneurs. So, for instance, when I had a worldwide company approach me this summer and offer to buy me, it was easy to say no because, wait, God told me to serve Christian entrepreneurs. Why would I sell my Christian entrepreneurs off to a corporation to get a big paycheck when that's who I'm called to serve? So it's easy to make these decisions, you know, and there's Myron Golden also. Do you know who Myron Golden is by chance?
I do. And if I didn't, by the end of this, I would be looking him up. But yes,
You would
I
know, yeah.
do.
So okay, so we'll call him Uncle Myron then. So like Uncle Myron says, a decision, right? When you make a decision, the Latin word for that is decidere, and it means to cut off. So when you make a decision, you literally cut off all other options. So me knowing that I am called to serve Christian entrepreneurs through my Fireside RV rental franchise, that answers a lot of questions for me. That helps seal the deal on a lot of opportunities that come my way. So my point to you, this folks, is when you know that you're called to be a Christian entrepreneur, that cuts off a lot of potential decisions for you to make. that cuts off the job opportunity that comes your way. That cuts off the go back to get my master's to do this or that. That cuts off so many opportunities that are in front of you. Why? Because you know your specific calling. You know your purpose of why you were created. And so when you know that, uh, failing at something isn't as hard because you know that's just part of the process.
And God told me to. You said you have four of those points you said. And where do you keep it?
I've got a post-it. If I was to turn my camera around, you'd see I've got about 30 post-its here in front of me that are constant reminders. And there'll be post-its that after a while, I'll be like, okay, I haven't referenced that one in a long time. It's not as prevalent anymore, and I move it over to this other board that I have. But there's post-its that I have that I know are foundational things that God reminds me of when I'm mentoring others. Like that post-it that I just looked at when I just said mentoring others. I don't call them meetings. Meetings to me are boring. Oh my gosh, if I said I have 6 meetings today, I'd cancel the day and go to the beach. But if I know that they're mentorings, if I know that I'm going to come on and I'm going to give value and I'm going to receive value, that's a lot more exciting to me, the way that my mind is wired. So I call them mentorings. So I picked mentorings over meetings.